My baby mama. Once upon a time, there lived a man named Chinedu. Chinedu was a kind-hearted man who always dreamed of finding true love. He was tall, with gentle eyes that seemed to carry all the sadness in the world. Chinedu was the type of man who would do anything for the people he loved. But no matter how hard he tried, he never seems to get lucky in love. From the time he was a young man, Chinedu had been in many relationships. He would fall deeply in love, give his all, but each time his heart would be broken. The women he dated would leave him, sometimes for reasons he couldn't understand. One day, he was left because he don't have enough money. Another time, a woman left him because she found someone who treated her better. Chinedu always felt like he wasn't good enough, even though he tried his best. Each failed relationship left Chinedu more emotional and sad. He would cry alone in his small quiet room, wondering what he did wrong. He prayed every night, asking God to send him someone who would love him for who he was. But each time, his prayer seems to go unanswered. His friends would get married, have children, and live happier, but Chinedu remained alone. As the years went by, Chinedu's pain grew. He watched as the women he once loved moved on, and some even got married to other men. He couldn't understand why he was so unlucky. Chinedu was a good man. He was hardworking, respectful, and caring, yet he was always left behind. One day, after another painful breakup, Chinedu decided he would stop looking for love. He couldn't bear the agony of being hurt again. He focused on his job, but even then, the loneliness never left him. His heart was heavy, and every night he would lay in bed, tears streaming down his face, wishing things could be different. But just when Chinedu thought he would never love again, he met a woman named Ijoma. Ijoma was beautiful, with a soft smile that made Chinedu's heart skip a beat. She was different from the other women he had known. She was kind, gentle, and seemed to understand Chinedu's pain without him saying a word. Chinedu was careful this time. He don't want to get hurt again, but something about Ijoma made him feel safe. For the first time in a long time, he allowed himself to hope. They started spending time together, and slowly Chinedu began to fall in love again. But this time, he was scared. He was scared that, just like before, Ijoma would leave him, and he would be left alone, crying and heartbroken. Yes, despite his fears, Chinedu couldn't help but give his all to Ijoma. He wanted to make her happy, to be the man she could rely on. He would buy her gifts, write her sweet notes, and even cook for her, just to see her smile. Ijoma seems to appreciate all he did, and for a moment, Chinedu thought that maybe, just maybe, this time would be different. But deep down, Chinedu was still haunted by the ghost of his past, the memories of all the times he was left alone, the nights he cried himself to sleep, the emptiness that never seems to go away. He tried to push these thoughts aside, but they kept coming back like a dark cloud hanging over him. As the months passed, Chinedu noticed that Ijoma was becoming distant. She no longer smiled as much, and she started making excuses to avoid spending time with him. Chinedu's heart sank. He had seen this before. He knew what was coming, but he tried to fight it. He did everything he could to keep Ijoma happy, but it seemed like nothing was working. One evening, Ijoma called Chinedu to meet her at a quiet park. Chinedu's heart raced as he walked to the park, his mind filled with dread. When he arrived, Ijoma was sitting on a bench, her face serious. Chinedu sat beside her, and before he could say a word, Ijoma spoke. "Chinedu, I am pregnant," she said softly. Chinedu's heart skipped a beat. He don't know whether to be happy or scared. But before he could react, Ijoma continued, "I am leaving. I can't do this with you." Chinedu felt like the ground was pulled from beneath him. His worst fear had come true. The woman he loved was leaving him, just like all the others. But this time, she was carrying his child. Tears welled up in Chinedu's eyes. "Ijoma, please don't leave. We can raise this child together. I will do anything for you, for our baby," he pleaded. But Ijoma shook her head. "I am sorry, Chinedu. I never wanted this. I can't stay," she said before walking away, leaving Chinedu sitting on the bench alone and heartbroken once again. As Ijeoma disappeared into the night, Chinedu broke down in tears. He had put his all into this relationship, just like all the others, but once again, he was left with nothing but pain and agony. And now, there was a baby on the way, a baby who might never know the love of both parents. Chinedu couldn't understand why he was so unlucky. Why was he always left alone, despite all he did? He cried and cried until he had no more tears left. The night seemed darker than ever, and Chinedu felt like he was drowning into his sorrow. Months passed after Ijeoma left, and Chinedu's life became a shadow of what it once was. He went to work, came home, and spent his night in silence. The weight of his sorrow growing heavier each day. The joy he once had was gone, and all that remained was a deep, etching emptiness. He thought about his unborn child often, wondering what kind of life they would have, and if he would ever get the chance to be a father. One rainy afternoon, as Chinedu sat in his living room, lost in thought, there was a knock at the door. He wasn't expecting anyone, and a sense of dread filled him as he approached the door. When he opened it, he couldn't believe his eyes. There stood Ijeoma, holding a baby in her arms. "Chinedu, can I come in?" she asked, her voice soft but her eyes is unreadable. Chinedu was speechless. He had dreamed of this moment, imagining Ijeoma coming back with their child. But now that it was happening, he don't know how to feel. He stepped aside, letting her in. Ijeoma walked in and placed the baby on the couch. The baby, a boy with big brown eyes, looked up at Chinedu and smiled. "This is your son, Chinedu," Ijeoma said, her voice devoid of any emotion. Chinedu's heart swallowed with both joy and fear. He was a father, but the circumstances were far from what he had hoped. He wanted to ask Ijeoma where she had been, why she left, but he couldn't find the words. Instead, he simply stared at the baby, his son, and felt tears well up in his eyes. "I have been struggling, Chinedu," Ijeoma continued, interrupting his thoughts. "I can't do this alone. I need your help." Chinedu's heart ached at her words. Despite all the pain she had caused him, he couldn't turn her away, especially not with their child involved. "You don't have to do it alone, Ijeoma," he said softly. "We can do this together." But as time went on, Chinedu realized that things were not going to be easy. Ijeoma moved in with Chinedu, bringing their baby, but it did not take long for her true nature to show. She was troublesome, constantly complaining and demanding things from Chinedu. She would ask for money, and when Chinedu tried to save so he could pay her bride price, she would pressure him to give her the money, promise to use it wisely. But each time, she spent it on unnecessary things, expensive clothes, jewelry, and outings with friends. Chinedu watched helplessly as his savings go down, yet he said nothing. He don't want to upset Ijeoma, afraid that she will leave again and take their child with her. So he endured it all, putting on a brave face even though his heart was breaking. Every day, Ijeoma would ask for money to buy food. Chinedu, trying to be a good father and provider, would give her what little money he had left. But when it was time to eat, Ijeoma would serve him a plate with the lid covered. Each time, Chinedu would eagerly lift the lid, hoping for a warm meal, only to find the plate empty. Confused and frustrated, Chinedu asked Ijeoma, "Where is the food? I gave you money to buy food, so why is the plate empty?" Ijeoma would roll her eyes and reply, "If you are not satisfied, go and find another woman who can cook for you. You think you are so special, Chinedu? You are lucky I'm even here with you." Her harsh voice cut deep, and Chinedu would retaliate into silence, too hot to respond. He couldn't understand why Ijeoma was treating him this way, especially after he had done everything to support her and their child. The pain in his heart grew with each passing day, and sometimes when he was alone, he would cry, feeling helpless and lost. Ijeoma's behavior became worse as time went on. She would leave the house for days, leaving Chinedu to care for their baby alone. When she returned, she would be angry if Chinedu asked her where she had been. She accused him of being controlling, of not trusting her, even though he never did anything wrong. Chinedu's life became a circle of pain and disappointment. He had given up everything for Ijeoma and their child, but no matter how hard he tried, it was never enough. His heart was heavy with sadness, and he often wondered how much more he could take. One evening, after another argument with Ijeoma, Chinedu sat alone in his room, tears streaming down his face. He thought about how his life had turned out, about all the sacrifices he had made, and how none of it seemed to matter. He had tried to be a good man, but all he had gotten in return was headache. As he sat there, lost in his thoughts, he heard a soft cry. It was his baby, crying from the other room. Chinedu wiped his tears and rushed to his son's side. He picked up the baby, holding him close, and the crying stopped. The baby looked up at Chinedu with those same big brown eyes, and for a moment Chinedu felt a gleam of hope. His son was the only light in his dark world, and Chinedu realized that no matter what happened with Ijeoma, he had to be strong for his child. He couldn't let the pain and sadness consume him. His son needed him, and that was all that matters. Days turned into weeks. Ijeoma never returned back to Chinedu. She left her son with Chinedu and never cared to come back. The end. Moral lesson: life can be full of pain and disappointment, and sometimes even our best efforts may seem to go unnoticed. But in the midst of all the sorrow, there is always something worth fighting for. For Chinedu, it was his son. No matter how hard things got, he found strength in the love he had for his child. The story teaches us that even in the darkest times, there is always a reason to keep going, to keep trying, and to never give up on the things that truly matters. Thank you guys for watching my story, and please come back for more stories. I love you.